All right, let's talk about something real. Has your e-commerce growth kinda hit a wall? If you're like most people, your first thought is probably, I just need more traffic. But what if that's the wrong diagnosis entirely? Today, we're going to put your business under an x-ray to find the real reason you're stuck and, more importantly, how to actually fix it. Now, let's just let that sink in for a second. The core argument here is that for most of you, your product is fine. People actually want what you're selling. The customers are out there. So if your sales feel random and unpredictable, the issue isn't what you sell, it's how you sell it. And this is the huge mental shift you need to make. See, the easy answer is always to blame something external. Not enough customers are finding me. But the real problem? It's almost always internal. You don't have a traffic problem. You have a system problem. Your process just isn't built to capture all the demand that's already out there. So let's break down what this system problem really looks like. It's the difference between getting a few random orders here and there that feel like pure luck and building an actual machine that generates sales predictably, day in and day out. This is the absolute best way to picture it. Imagine you spend a bunch of money on ads or you get a huge feature somewhere. That's just pouring more water into a bucket. But what if your listings don't convince people to buy? What if your reviews are bad or your pricing is just off? Well, those are all holes. All that new traffic you just paid for, it just leaks right out without ever turning into a sale. You're not just spinning your reels, you're actively wasting money. So how do we find these leaks? Well, we use a really simple diagnostic tool we're going to call the e-commerce X-ray. And this isn't about getting lost in a sea of complicated analytics. Nope. It's about looking at the 4 fundamental pillars that hold up any successful online store. You know, everything, and I mean everything, boils down to these 4 things. Visibility, that's your traffic. Conversion is how good your product page is at doing its job. Trust, well, that's built through your ratings, your reviews, your entire brand feel. And finally, profit, because that's what makes the whole thing worth doing, right? If any one of these is broken, the whole system just falls apart. Okay, so to see which one of those pillars is weak, we've got to check your business's vital signs. Just like a doctor would, we need data to make a good diagnosis. So let's look at the numbers you absolutely positively have to know. These numbers right here, they tell the whole story. Impressions tell you about your visibility. Clicks tell you if your main picture and title are actually grabbing people's attention. Your conversion rate, that shows you how persuasive your product page really is. Orders are the obvious result, of course, but your return percentage and your customer ratings, that tells you everything you need to know about trust and quality. And I'm asking you, for real, do you know these numbers off the top of your head? Because if you don't, it's like you're flying blind. There's no way you can fix the leaks in your bucket if you don't even know where to look for them. Tracking these vitals is the first real step to taking back control. Now, once you have your numbers, you can start to spot the common fractures, the mistakes that pretty much every seller makes when they get stuck. And the biggest one usually has to do with your most valuable employee. I love this way of thinking about it. Your product listing, it works for you 24/7. It never calls in sick. So is it a star performer or is it kind of lazy and unconvincing? A really great listing has 3 very specific jobs it needs to nail. First up, the title. Its one and only job is to get you found. It needs to be packed with the exact keywords your perfect customer is typing into that search bar. No fluff, no creative writing, just pure, simple search optimization. Then you have the image. When your product shows up in a list with dozens of competitors, its job is to be so clear, so eye-catching, that it earns that click over everybody else. It has to win that very first battle for attention. And finally, the description. Once they've clicked, this is where you close the deal. It has to answer every single question they might have, overcome any doubt, and give them that final push of confidence they need to hit add to cart. If any of these 3 things fail, the whole chain reaction just breaks. Here's another massive mistake: treating all your products like they're created equal. The reality is the 80-20 rule is almost always in effect. A tiny number of your products, your hero SKUs, are probably driving the huge majority of your sales. So many sellers waste time and energy on the duds instead of doubling down on the proven winners. And hey, let's talk about price for a second. It is so tempting to think you have to be the cheapest to win, right? But that's just a race to the bottom. The truth is, people buy what they feel is the best value. The winner isn't the cheapest one. It's the one who does the best job of building trust and making the most convincing case. Okay, so we've run the X-ray, we've looked at the common problems.
But a diagnosis is totally useless without a prescription, right? So let's build a simple, super effective action plan you can literally start on today.
This is your homework. It's simple, but believe me, it is powerful. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just focus. First, go optimize the title, the images, and the description for just 3 of your top products. Second, go figure out what your single best hero SKU is. And third, just make a simple spreadsheet and start tracking your vital signs every single day. See, by taking these small, consistent steps, you stop relying on luck and you start building something way more powerful. You start building a system, an engine that cranks out orders with predictability. And this is the transformation we're talking about. You go from the chaos of random sales, 2 one day, 0 the next, to the confidence of a predictable business. Just imagine waking up and knowing you're going to get 20 or 30 or 50 orders because you built the system that delivers them. And that brings us to the most important point of all. Consistent success in e-commerce is never an accident. It's not about getting lucky. It is the direct result of a well-designed, well-measured, and constantly improving system. It's built on purpose, piece by piece, by design. So, the only question left is for you. You've seen the X-ray, you have the diagnosis, and you've got the first steps of an action plan. Are you ready to stop chasing traffic and finally start building your system?